On Zombie Reddit, today's story is...
My sister stole my husband from me 5 years ago, and now she can't have children with him. The secret my ex was keeping changed everything, and I never imagined the outcome. I am 30 years old and expecting my second baby. This child is my first with Walter, 30, while my daughter Emery, 6, is from my previous relationship with Dalton, 36. This moment should be pure joy. However, my mom May, 58, is demanding that I remove posts about my pregnancy from my social networks because I am supposedly hurting my sister Sally, 33, who is having trouble conceiving. Some context. My marriage to Dalton ended after 2 years when I discovered his affair with Sally, to whom he is now married. As for my posts, I share normal things like ultrasound scans, occasional photos of my bump, or preparations for the arrival of the baby. Nothing excessive or out of the ordinary for any expectant mother. These posts are for those who are really interested in my life. Sally is upset by this because she has been trying to get pregnant for a long time without success. According to Mom, my posts constantly remind her of her difficulties while my life continues to progress. She also insinuated that my posts suggest that Dalton made the wrong choice in staying with Sally, which says more about him than anything else. My mother even suggested that I stop mentioning my pregnancy altogether, both online and in person. She claims that I must protect Sally's feelings even if it means hiding this happy part of my life. I was shocked because it seems completely unfair and impossible. I am pregnant and I shouldn't have to hide it. I don't tag Sally or send her updates directly. I only share my happiness with those who support me, but somehow they make me the bad guy. Mom insists that I should consider how my posts affect Sally. She thinks that sharing openly could make her feel inadequate, damaging our family relationships. She also pointed out that my posts could make Sally question her marriage to Dalton, especially seeing how I am moving forward while she feels stuck. I feel like I'm being unfairly burdened here. My posts are about my family and my joy, not about Sally or her problems. My enthusiasm for this baby has nothing to do with her marriage, or her infertility. But Mom seems determined to connect my happiness with Sally's suffering, as if my joy can only exist if it doesn't interfere with hers. What is most outrageous is Sally's nerve. She actually asked me to stop sharing about my pregnancy because it might upset her. This is the same sister who betrayed my trust in the worst possible way. She destroyed my marriage, and now she wants to silence my happiness for her own comfort. I recognize that Dalton shares the blame. I am furious with both of them, but Sally is my sister, and she should never have done that to me. I am not envious of her life or her decisions, which frankly are terrible. I just can't get over the hurt she caused me. She hurt me deeply, and instead of acknowledging it, she behaves like a victim, while expecting consideration from me. It's unbelievable that she dares to ask me this. I have worked hard to overcome what happened, but situations like this bring it all back. Sally never admits her mistakes or takes responsibility. Instead, she expects me to sacrifice myself as if I owe her something. I really feel sorry for her. It's pathetic to betray your own sister and then expect compassion. I refuse to feel guilty about celebrating my pregnancy or my happiness. I deserve to enjoy this no matter how she feels about it. I have decided to keep posting and to continue sharing about my pregnancy. I won't flood social media with baby content, but I won't hide this fundamental part of my life either. I deserve to celebrate this stage like anyone else. Mom continues to try to manipulate me with guilt. She sends me long messages saying that I am selfish and insensitive, suggesting that I deliberately tried to hurt Sally. It hurts to hear those words, but I know I'm not wrong. This situation makes me question whether I am being inconsiderate or whether my mother's expectations are excessive. I never wanted to hurt anyone, especially my sister, but I don't think I should hide my happiness just to avoid making her uncomfortable. Am I wrong to refuse to stop sharing about my pregnancy simply because my sister is facing fertility problems? Update 1. Hello, I have some news. The situation has not improved, particularly with my mother. If you read my previous post, you know how much she favors Sally and how she has never really supported me, especially after the Dalton affair. Lately, Mom has reached unprecedented levels of cruelty, which has been tremendously difficult. Every time I post something about my pregnancy, which isn't very often, Mom leaves hurtful and nasty comments. Initially, I thought it was a temporary reaction to the situation with Sally, but it's been going on for weeks. She doesn't limit herself to the occasional comment. She writes multiple things under my posts, trying to make me feel guilty or bad about celebrating my pregnancy. She seems determined to ruin my happiness. At first, I thought blocking her would work. When she left nasty comments, I would block her, hoping it would be the last one. But she persisted, creating new accounts to continue commenting horrible things. I felt trapped in an exhausting, endless cycle, questioning whether it was worth continuing to block her. Now I've given up. I let her say what she wants and try to ignore it. I don't respond, and I avoid getting involved in her drama. Honestly, it's complicated. As much as I convince myself that her words don't matter, they still hurt. She's my mother, and it's hard to see her behave like this. She should be my biggest support, especially during my pregnancy. But instead, she complicates everything when I just want to enjoy this period. I am really excited about this pregnancy. It represents a new beginning for my family, but my mother's constant negativity is affecting my mood. I have considered staying off social media completely, but I don't want to give her that kind of control over me. This is my life, my pregnancy, and I should be able to celebrate it as I wish. I have already sacrificed too much personal happiness to keep the peace in the family, and I am tired. I deserve to enjoy this pregnancy and share it with those who truly appreciate me without feeling guilty. That said, ignoring my mother's comments is really difficult. She knows exactly how to provoke me, and although I try not to let it affect me, it's not easy. Her words stay in my mind, constantly reminding me that no matter how happy I feel, there will always be someone trying to discourage me. I need advice. How do you deal with similar situations? How do you avoid being affected by hurtful words, especially when they come from someone as close as a mother? I would like to know how others deal with these situations, because I want to overcome this and enjoy this special time without being depressed by her comments. Update 2. Hello, many of you wanted to know more details about what happened with Dalton and Sally, so here it is. A few months after Emery was born, I noticed changes in Dalton. He became distant, spent less time at home, and seemed uninterested. He made up excuses for being away, claiming work or errands, but something didn't add up. Initially, I thought it was the stress of being new parents. We were both exhausted, adjusting to life with a baby, so I assumed he needed space. However, as the weeks went by, his behavior became stranger. He seemed emotionally absent, barely interacting with me or Emery, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. One day, Dalton was receiving numerous messages while trying to put Emery to sleep. I took his phone to silence it and, frankly, to see who was sending so many messages. I took a look at the notifications, and they were from Sally. It said, "It's been too long. When are you going to tell him about us?" I confronted Dalton immediately. When I showed him the message, he didn't even try to deny it. He confessed everything, saying that it just happened and that they didn't mean to hurt me. I wasn't surprised coming from Sally. She always flirted with my boyfriends. It was her pattern, but I hated that Dalton did this to me. I filed for divorce almost immediately. There was no possible solution. I was fed up and just wanted Dalton out of my life. I won't lie, raising Emery alone was extremely difficult. I didn't receive any help. My mother was busy helping Sally plan her big dream wedding. And yes, 2 months after our divorce, they got married. My mother, who has always preferred Sally, tried to pressure me into attending. She said it was important to keep the family together and that I should move on for Emery's sake. I refused point blank. I would never attend my sister's wedding with my ex-husband. It was a betrayal of both of them, even of my mother, who seemed unconcerned about my suffering. She just wanted to keep up appearances and please Sally. After all the drama with Dalton and Sally, I decided to move on for Emery's and my sake. I couldn't stay stuck in the past, and I finally found someone who really valued me. Walter. He is kind, patient, and supportive, like Dalton never was. I met Walter about a year after my divorce, and we got married after a year and a half of dating. When Walter and I got married, I saw it as a new beginning. Instead of being supported for my happiness, I was made to feel like a villain. Some thought I moved on too quickly, as if it was unfair that I found happiness after everything that had happened. Dalton's family made things worse. They couldn't understand how I could move on so quickly from the man who gave me my daughter. They even suggested that I must have been cheating on Dalton all along, claiming that it was impossible to get over him so quickly without having been involved with someone else first. It was ironic that they accused me of exactly what their son had actually done, but I ignored them. I am genuinely happy with Walter now. Update 3. I recently heard shocking news about Sally and Dalton through our cousin. As you know, Sally has had fertility problems. She always wanted to have children, and I assumed that, like many couples, they had consulted doctors to identify possible problems. But apparently that wasn't the case. They never saw specialists. They simply assumed that Sally was infertile because Dalton and I conceived Emery. They concluded that she was the problem because, according to their logic, if I had a child with him, the problem must be her. But here's the surprising part. A few days ago, I found out that Dalton had a vasectomy right after our divorce. He didn't tell Sally, and for almost 5 years, he allowed her to believe that it was insufficient because she couldn't get pregnant. He didn't want any more children, he took steps to make sure of it, and he kept it a secret. All this time, Sally blamed herself for not being able to conceive, thinking that something was wrong with her. She was devastated, and, even worse, Dalton never confessed the truth. Sally obviously didn't know this. She kept trying to conceive, consulting doctors, doing everything she could. Meanwhile, Dalton remained silent, knowing that it wasn't her fault but his. He let her suffer in silence, believing that she was defective. He thought she wasn't enough for him because she couldn't give him the family he wanted. She felt broken, collapsing, while Dalton kept his secret by manipulating her emotions. I can't even imagine how betrayed she must have felt when she discovered the truth. Apparently, Dalton arrived drunk a few days ago and finally confessed everything. I don't know if it was guilt or a breaking point, but he revealed the truth about the vasectomy. He confessed to the lies he had been telling for years, making her believe that she was the obstacle. In reality, it was her decision. He closed off the possibility of starting a family, and, instead of taking responsibility, he allowed Sally to blame herself. On the one hand, I feel compassion for Sally. She's my sister. As much as I hate her betrayal with Dalton, I can't help but feel sorry for her. She always longed to have children and has dealt with the pain of not being able to conceive. It must have been absolutely devastating to think that it was all her fault, especially knowing how much she wanted to be a mother. But then I remember everything she did to me, and it's hard to feel too much pity. As for Dalton, he's someone I now see in a completely different light. It was bad enough that he cheated on me with my sister, but this, manipulating her for years, making her believe that I was broken and unworthy, leaves me speechless. The way he handled everything, hiding the truth, and allowing her to suffer that emotional and mental pain. It's inexplicable. He's a coward. He ruined our marriage, destroyed our family, and now he's doing the same thing to Sally. That's all for now. I will continue to post about my pregnancy. Some may think I'm trying to rub my happiness in their faces, but that's not the case. This is my life, and I have the right to celebrate it. I will not allow anyone to make me feel guilty about sharing my pregnancy, especially my mother or Sally. I know Mom probably dislikes it, but she hasn't said anything. I think deep down she knows I'm sick of trying to please everyone. I'm tired of letting her make decisions, and I really don't care about her opinion of my happiness. I'm sick of them trying to dictate my choices, especially those who never supported me. Update 4. I gave birth to a baby girl. We named her Everly, and she's perfect. Emery has naturally taken on her role as big sister. When Everly was born, part of me hoped that my mother would reconsider her attitude. Despite all her hurtful words and actions, I hoped she would put it all behind her for her new granddaughter. I imagined she would show up at the hospital or call to check up on us, but nothing happened. No calls, no visits, no messages. I tried to prepare myself for this possibility, but it still hurt. She is my mother. Regardless of our strained relationship, I thought Everly's birth might bring us momentarily closer, but that moment never came. Weeks after the birth, I posted a photo of Emery holding her little sister. It was a sweet moment that I wanted to share. I am proud of my girls, and celebrating them seemed appropriate. Most of the responses were kind and encouraging. Friends and family congratulated us, expressed their love, and said beautiful things about them. For a moment, everything seemed perfect, as if I could enjoy the moment without worries. My mother commented, and I briefly thought that maybe this time it would be different. I expected some kind words, even if it was a simple compliment, but no. She wrote such terrible and hateful things that I had never read, and this time she wasn't just attacking me, she directed her fury towards my daughters, her own granddaughters. I will not repeat what was written, because it was so horrible that it left me completely shocked. Previously, her negative comments had always been directed at me, criticizing me for moving on after Dalton, accusing me of selfishness, and insinuating that I didn't deserve to be happy. It was already painful, but I learned to deal with it. This was different. She crossed an unthinkable line. Seeing her direct such hatred towards two innocent people, especially her granddaughters, was devastating. I stood still reading her comment, incredulous. How could my own mother sink so low? How could she express herself so horribly about Everly and Emery? They haven't caused her any harm. They are just children. I felt that she was no longer trying to hurt just me. She was attacking the most valuable thing in my life, an indescribable feeling. I told myself that I wouldn't let it get to me, but this situation is different. It's not just about me, it's about my daughters, which makes it difficult to ignore. No matter how hard I try to get past it, her words remain, inevitably causing me pain. I feel confused, hurt, and unsure how to proceed. My mother has always preferred Sally, and I have learned to live with it. I understand that she has never really supported me, but this situation seems much worse. How do you accept that your own mother acts like this? How do you face up to the fact that someone who should love and support you can be so cruel? Update 5. My cousin recently told me something surprising. Sally and Dalton are getting divorced. Honestly, I wasn't surprised. Considering recent events, it seemed inevitable. Even so, hearing it stirred up conflicting feelings. Part of me experienced a certain satisfaction, as if they were finally getting what they deserved. But I also felt sadness. Sadness for Sally, for the chaos created, and especially for Emery, who will be caught in the middle of it all. Shortly after that call, Sally contacted me. I really wasn't expecting this. We haven't really spoken in years, except for occasional passive-aggressive comments through family members. She kept her distance, and I did the same. When I saw her name on my phone, I hesitated to answer. I almost rejected the call, but curiosity prevailed. I needed to know what she would say, especially considering the current situation. When I answered, her tone completely baffled me. Extremely sweet, almost overly kind. For a moment, I thought I had misidentified the contact. I had to double-check the name. She began by asking about my daughters in a honeyed voice, as if we were close friends. "How's Emery? How's the baby? I've been meaning to check in on you." It was very strange to hear her talk like that, as if the past had never existed. I replied politely but briefly, avoiding giving her the opportunity to delve deeper. Everything seemed suspicious, and I would not let my guard down. Finally, she revealed her motive. She and Dalton had separated and were processing the divorce. She didn't share many details about the reasons, although I had already heard something from my cousin. Her voice showed that she was trying to present herself as a victim, conveniently ignoring her part in the disaster that originally caused their relationship. After informing me of the divorce, Sally abruptly changed the subject. She began by explaining how difficult everything had been, saying that she felt her life was falling apart. Then she said something that really shocked me. She asked me if I could help her in any way. She said that as her sister, it was my duty to support her, as if that justified abandoning everything to come to her aid. She insisted that I should be there because that's what families do. The cheek of her request almost made me laugh out loud. I couldn't help it, not because I found it funny, but because of the absolute impression her audacity made on me. Did she really think I had forgotten what she did to me? Did she think that all the pain and betrayal could simply be ignored because now she was facing the consequences of her own actions? I reminded her exactly what she had done. I mentioned how she slept with my husband, destroyed my marriage, and completely turned my life upside down. I told her that even if I could help her, I wouldn't. She had made her choices, and now she had to face the consequences. Her tone changed instantly. The sweetness disappeared and was replaced by anger, but I didn't stay to hear more. I ended the call, blocked her number, and strangely felt relieved. For the first time in a long time, I felt in control of the situation. I wouldn't allow manipulation or feelings of guilt to make me do something against my will. I stood firm, and it felt empowering. I have spent so much time overcoming the damage she caused me. When she and Dalton acted the way they did, I felt my world fall apart. It took me years to rebuild my life, and even now, it still affects me occasionally. I have worked hard to build a fulfilling life with Walter, Emery, and Everly. Allowing Sally to return would only revive all the pain, and I will not take that risk. What really bothers me is her sense of privilege. She never reached out to apologize or acknowledge the damage caused. She doesn't even seem to consider how her actions impacted me. Instead, she acts as if I owe her something, as if it's my responsibility to help her clean up her mess. It's frustrating and honestly heartbreaking. She still doesn't understand that her actions have consequences, including losing people who once cared about her. Blocking her was the best possible decision. I don't want her drama or negativity in my life, especially now that I'm focusing on my family. I've come too far to let her drag me back into the chaos she created. Maybe one day she'll recognize the damage she caused and take responsibility, but I'm not counting on it. Update 6. Hi, some of you asked about Dalton and his relationship with Emery, so I'll share briefly. Quite simply, their bond is practically non-existent. When Emery was born, I really expected Dalton to take on the role of father. Regardless of what happened between us, I thought he would want to be involved in her life, to be present while she grew up. But over the years it became clear that he wasn't interested. He barely communicates, and when he sees her, it's so infrequent that it seems more like an obligation than a genuine desire. Emery barely knows Dalton, which breaks my heart. She doesn't seem to feel a connection with him and refuses to call him dad. I have never pressured her on the matter because I consider it her choice. On the other hand, she does call Walter dad, which clearly reflects her feelings. Walter has been present in her life in a way that Dalton never was. He reads her bedtime stories, helps with homework, and takes her to the park. He loves her as if she were his own, and she adores him just the same. Sally and Dalton are officially divorced. From what I heard, the separation was quite conflictive. Sally now lives with my mother, which makes sense considering their close relationship. I haven't spoken to either of them about this, and I don't plan to. I have kept my distance from that part of the family, and it has benefited my mental health. As for my mother, there is an unexpected relief. After months of leaving cruel comments on my social networks, she was finally permanently banned from Instagram. Initially, I tried to block her accounts, but she kept creating new ones just to harass me. It was exhausting, and her words hurt more than I wanted to admit, but now that she's banned, there's finally some peace. I no longer have to check my phone in fear of her comments, which is a huge weight off my mind. Life feels calmer these days, and I am concentrating on enjoying it with my family. Emery and Everly are happy. Walter continues to be the best partner and father, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I can breathe without the added family drama.